Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our NFL Week 13 preview between the Seattle Seahawks and the Chicago Bears. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Seahawks.
When I look at the Seahawks in this ball game, I think this is going to be the battle of the underneath coverage. So that means Leroy Hill will have to have a better game this week versus Jay Cutler in that quick passing game as opposed to last. And when you look at the secondary, this may be the last game before a 4-game suspension. We'll see Brandon Browner and Richard Sherman. So these guys have to be able to maximize the time they have on the field. They'll go against a depleted Bears wide receiving corps, so they should be able to man up and take away the outside passing attack, forcing Jay Cutler to go underneath, which is why Leroy Hill should be important to the game plan. Now, offensively, we know Seattle is a 60-40 run-to-pass ratio type of ball club, but they can get a little bit more to 50-50 or 55-45 because Russell Wilson is playing some great football right now. In the running game, there are some little nuances that they can improve on to help the running game not get bottled up in the backfield. Let's go inside the lab to see what those little nuances are and how they can address them.
The Seattle Seahawks love to run the strong side zone out of a strong I formation, which means the fullback is offset to the strong side with the tight end. And it allows them to have the best advantage in getting to the outside and also creating a wide cutback lane for Marshawn Lynch or Robert Turbin. But in recent weeks, it's been getting bottled up lately due to the fact of a little subtlety in the process. When Russell Wilson opens up, it's effective. When he reverses out, it's getting bottled up, and I'm going to show you why it gets bottled up. Let's say up here we have your zone step, and we have Russell Wilson reversing out, which means he's going to reverse pivot. He's going to open up this way to then hand off, if you get what I'm saying. So that's what's going on when we talk about reverse out. So he's reversing out, and we have Marshawn Lynch taking his zone step. As he reverses out, his job is to get those linebackers to think flow this way because he wants to draw them by turning his back this way. But really, he's reversing out, coming around, and handing off right there. The problem with this process is you have this backer usually, or this defense tackle, blowing up this guard right here, thus pushing him in the backfield, thus bellying out Marshawn Lynch. So right here, Marshawn Lynch has to take a wider step and is getting bottled up in the backfield. However, when you open up, which means you stand like this and you open up to the zone. When you open up to the zone, you are still turning your back to the defense and getting flow going this way, but you're not allowing this guy to get pressure down the guard. So let's say Russell Wilson opens up to the zone step. When he opens up and meets the tailback at the mesh point, everybody's flowing this way. Everybody's trying to get over there to get to the outside to set the edge, and that's why you have the cutback lane here. And when you open up, you still have the advantage of getting outside on the bootleg. It is very tough and very awkward to reverse out, fake a handoff, and then belly back out, and it gets bottled up every time. There's too much movement going on in the backfield. You only have a half a second to get this play done, and if you do it this way by eliminating half a second by opening out instead of reversing out, it makes that much of a difference. So if the Seahawks can make just subtle changes to their zone process, I think they can have much more success like they were doing in the early part of the season and not getting those plays bottled up like we have seen in recent weeks.
Now let's move over to the Bears in this ball game, and they have a slew of injuries both offensively and defensively scattered throughout the positions. On offense, the receiving corps will be without Alshon Jeffrey and possibly Devin Hester with a concussion. That's why Earl Bennett is going to have a huge day in the backfield. They may or may not be with or without Matt Forte, so Michael Bush is going to have to step up and make plays. Both guys can be effective, and that's why they both are on this offense. You look at Bennett as a guy that can step up, make plays across the middle of the field, and you look at Bush as a guy that can handle the load as a feature back. And we know about Seattle's struggle in the run game. Both guys will have to have huge days in order for Chicago to have success on offense. The injury bug has also hit the defensive side of the football, and Charles Tillman may play with a chipped bone in his foot. Now, the reason why this is important is because he prides himself on getting a good jam at the line of scrimmage and being able to play the trail technique and run with these wide receivers. If he can't run or if he misses the jam, that could be a big play for Seattle. So, which is why you'll probably see Tim Jennings draw more of responsibilities on Sidney Rice as opposed to Golden Tate. But you look at the Bears' safety play has to be vital. We know they love to run strong side, does Seattle. So Major Wright will have to be a major factor in this game plan as well for Chicago. X factor for the Seahawks will be the secondary. They're going to have to take away Brandon Marshall and also influence Jay Cutler into some bad decisions. If any secondary is up to the task, it is Seattle's. And for the Bears, the X factor are the tight ends. You got to be able to control the middle of the field, and we saw Seattle struggle last week covering the middle of the field versus Miami. Here are some of my coaching points for both teams in this ball game. Ball security for Chicago goes without saying. You got to protect the football, number one. And you always have to have a screen handy. It helps alleviate some of the pressure off your injured offensive line. Lance Lewis is out for the year, so you got to be able to protect yourself. And the way you can ease some of that pressure is with the screen plays. And don't lose gap discipline versus Russell Wilson. He's a guy that can get outside the pocket and make plays with his legs. For Seattle, passing from 4 wide formations will help Russell Wilson see the field even better and also attack the individual matchups. And on defense, you got to bracket Brandon Marshall, take him out of the game plan completely, and you have to win the battle of the special teams. Hester may not play with a concussion issue, so that could be an advantage for Seattle. I like the Bears in this ball game. If Matt Forte plays, that's a bonus. If he doesn't, they're still well protected with Michael Bush in the backfield. The Seahawks are struggling right now in stopping the run, so I look for Chicago to win this game on the ground. Now, defensively, the Seahawks do have the talent in the secondary to make plays against Jay Cutler. The problem is they cannot stop the run, and I think that's how the Bears win it. Plus, I can trust their defense in a clutch situation right now more so than Seattle, who's been struggling over the last 4 weeks. And I want to give a huge shout out to Bears fan forums and Seahawk fan forums for always showing football game plan support.